Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining us again today. Well, by request, we're going to be taking a quick look at the Taurus G3C Toro. We've looked at many of the Taurus compact carry guns in the past, but we haven't got to this one yet. And this is a 12-round capacity, optics-ready option for carry. So we're going to see about the features and find out that this is going to be a good option for us. And we're going to get into all that in just a minute. Alright, once again, thanks for being with us today. If this is your first time coming to the channel, or if you've watched our videos before and just haven't had a chance to do so before now and you like our content, please consider subscribing. You can locate that subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner of your computer screen there, or if you're on a mobile device, you can scroll down below the video and subscribe that way. It's a quick and easy thing that helps out a whole lot. So, Taurus G3C Toro. Of course, the Toro stands for Taurus Optic Ready Option. And really, aside from the optics readiness, it is just like a regular G3C, but we'll get into that here in just a second. We always like to start off with a little size comparison here, and this is always done just to kind of give you an idea of what this is going to be like if you choose it. People have got different size holsters and carry capacities and options and things like that, so it's really hard to tell without putting something familiar with it. So one of the things that was really close in size has a shorter grip, but my little Glock 27 here, Glock 26 would be the same obviously too. But as far as the overall length, they're pretty close. Trigger guard size is pretty close. You got a little bit more grip on the Taurus, but I don't get that much concerned about the grip because when it's in the holster, as long as you have a good holster that covers the top of the grip where it goes against the body, that's not a big deal to me. But one of the main reasons I'm comparing it is because you look at the thickness of the firearm. You can see that the Taurus and the Glock are really close as far as their thickness. And when you look at them this way, you can see where you've got the extra grip length on the Taurus there. Of course, it does hold more ammunition. So let me get you something else for comparison here. And like I said, once again, this isn't exact, but this is a Glock 43X. And so it's got a little bit bigger grip because it holds more rounds. And, you can see that, your length, approximate dimensions are pretty close. In this case, the Glock's going to be just obviously a little bit thinner. But the Glock is a single stack, of course, and that makes a difference. But most people have seen or held one of these two before, or something similar. That just kind of gives you an idea of the overall size on the firearm. We like to start off with that because when you're choosing a holster, choosing a firearm, considering what bulk you're going to try to carry, it's a good idea to get a good starting point. Alright, we're going to jump right into the features here. But before we do, we're going to take a moment and thank our friends over at Don's Weaponry for providing us this beautiful example of the Taurus G3C Toro for our tabletop review today. Don's Weaponry is a huge supporter of firearm safety and education, and we can't thank them enough. So first thing we'll do, of course, is we'll do a quick safety check, get that magazine out of there, and then you can see that we are clear. Everything is good to go there. And we'll kind of start our discussion with the magazine because this is a 9mm handgun. It does hold 12 rounds in the magazine. So 12 plus 1 total capacity. But they give you not one, not two, but 3 magazines. I think that's worth mentioning. A lot of people, they don't seem to give you very much for your money. And, Taurus is a very reasonably priced handgun option, and the fact that you get things with it that you normally have to pay for. And if you've ever bought extra magazines for your carry gun, you know what I'm talking about. They're not cheap. So to me, this is kind of a good selling point that they give you extra magazines to start with. So that's a good thing. So kind of looking from the top down here, first thing you'll notice, of course, is the screws here for the optics plate. It is the optics ready option, so of course you've got several plates they give you to adapt this to different optics. So, you know, once again, it's a reasonably priced handgun, and they give you a lot of good stuff to go with it. So it's kind of nice. I mean, at one time, you know, years ago, I'm not sure how serious of an option Taurus was for me because of some issues with certain models. And I've seen them make improvements, not just in their quality, but, you know, the fit and finish of the handguns and what they give you. And so I think they've come a long way. Okay, so the sights here, you know, basic. You've got your notch sight and your white dot, and that works just fine. I like to have a, you know, fiber optic or maybe a tritium component just for me, but I can live with this. That's not a bad setup. Pretty good serrations here in the front and rear. If you like to have a light or a laser on your carry gun, or if you use this at home, you've got an option for that there with that rail. This does have a manual safety. Now, it's just on the left-hand side, okay, so keep that in mind. And, of course, you got your slide lock and release here, and that also is just on the left-hand side. This firearm, a lot like, comes apart kind of like a Glock does. You've got these two little pull-down tabs right here, one on the other side, and you have to grab them both at the same time, but you pull the slide back just a little bit like this and pull those down, and then the whole thing will come right off. And of course, once you get it out of here, you can take your rod and your spring, tip your barrel out, and you're good to go. We're not going to completely tear it down because I think everybody gets it. Your trigger, it's actually not a bad trigger. Like I say, usually when I'm dealing with a more budget-friendly firearm, I'm usually just pointing the triggers. But the trigger, and we'll talk about this more at the range, is actually pretty good. And this is a single-action trigger with restrike. You can see I'm able to just continuously pull the trigger without manipulating the slide. Pretty good sized trigger guard, which I like because I've got kind of big fingers, and I like to be able to get in there without having to hunt for this opening. Your magazine release is located in a good place. You've got a little protective bevel here that your thumb goes into, so when you're holding this, I don't ever feel like that my hand is getting onto the magazine release when I don't want it to, and at the same time it comes right out. So it's a good location. The texturing all around the grip is pretty good. You see a lot of carry guns using this kind of dense texturing, and you know, it's nice. It's not too harsh, but you're definitely not going to drop the firearm accidentally, you know, because there's nothing to hold on to. It's a pretty good grip. And of course, you can see there's a little indentation in both the magazine and the bottom of the grip there. And of course, that's because if your magazine doesn't come right out, you can put your fingers in there and use that to strip the magazine out. So, like I said, for a very well-priced carry option, it has a lot of good features. And if that's being considered as a carry gun, it's got some stuff that I would certainly look at. So when you have a firearm that's priced, you know, reasonably, a lot of people, they want to pick on performance and they want to see just how good it really is. You know, as I said, one time Taurus would have been a serious option for me because there were models that had problems, and many people already know about that. But I think what they've been offering for the last several years has been pretty good. Now, this Taurus is no exception. Now, I have the G3C in my personal collection, and I've shot that firearm over and over and over and over again. There's no telling how many rounds I've put through it. And to this point, I've had absolutely no problems with it. And of course, the only difference between this one is it simply has the optics mounting. I don't typically put optics on my carry guns. That's why I'm not bothering to put one on here and didn't do it for testing, because, you know, if you use an optic, you get it. When it's mounted, you'll be shooting it with an optic. If I get a gun and it has an optic on already, I'll try it that way, but I usually don't put them on mine. To me, that's something that's for, you know, rifles, and then when it comes to handguns, I'm trying to keep it as small as I can. So, in this case, it's a good shooting gun. I've already had plenty of time in the field to tell you that it's very reliable, and it's not picky with ammo, and I like that too. I have a lot of certain ammo in my stock, a lot of it. I shoot a lot of the PMC. I have tons of this. This is a 115 grade FMJ. It's pretty clean ammo too, compared to some, and I have no issues with this. I've got a lot of this S&B as well. I shoot lots of this, and this is also 115 grain, and it's pretty clean. And the Taurus loves all that ammo. And I always test every handgun with at least 3 rounds for sure. There's others I usually will use, but the Spear Gold Dot 124 is one of my favorite defensive rounds. And keep in mind, I'm certainly not excluding all the others. There's some great Remington stuff. There's Federal. There's tons of good ammo out there. I just gravitate towards certain ones because I like them. The SIG V-Crown I shoot a lot of, and once again, SIG doesn't pay me a dime to talk about their ammo. I just like it, and I always try the 124 and the 115 to see which one's better. And when I say better, which one did I shoot most accurate? If I shoot, you know, a couple of boxes of each of these through the gun, whichever one I end up being the most accurate with overall is the one I'm picking. In this case, which happens a lot, the 115 grain V-Crown was the most accurate round that I was able to fire through the Toro consistently. So it's not picky about ammo. It's a very accurate handgun. I mean, it's as accurate as anything else that I've shot in this category. And like I said, it's got a pretty decent trigger on it. When you engage the trigger, of course, you got your little safety right there. And then, much like a Glock, it has kind of that little gritty kind of starting area right there. And then you feel it start to grab. And then it's a pretty direct snap right there. So once again, get a little take up, a little gritty, and then once we get the resistance, then you put the weight on it, and it's a pretty good, clean break. It goes a little further back than I would think before it strikes, but it's very consistent, so I don't have an issue with that. So once you've taken a few shots with it, it feels to me not that much different than shooting a Glock or shooting anything with a similar type of trigger. So it's reliable, it's pretty accurate, and it's not that painful to shoot. A lot of these smaller guns, they kind of will wear your hand out after a while too. And the frame is it's a decent enough balance as far as size to where it's not less than enjoyable to shoot. I could spend an afternoon shooting this gun and be just fine. So it's not a bad option all the way around. So if you were going to carry the Toro, well, how would you do it? Well, the way I would do it and the way you would do it might be a little bit different, but I'll show you how I did it. Once again, I didn't bother putting optic on this. I think everybody gets it. You add your optic, obviously your holster choice may or may not change. I spent some time with my little VersaCarry here, which I could probably still use with the optic. It would just stick out right there, and the way I carry this, I don't think that'd be an issue. Now, this is just one of many VersaCarry holsters I have. This is the one that's for my regular G3C, and so obviously I used it for this demonstration. And I don't carry a lot of this style holster, this single clip that you see. And the reason I don't do it is because with a lot of guns, when you have a single clip, it seems like the gun moves around and it doesn't stay put very well. And all the weight is on that one clip. VersaCarry, they make a pretty good little holster, and it's got pretty robust padding on it. It's made with really good materials. I've got several of these, and I've been really happy with all of them. And carrying this one with this single clip design was actually very comfortable. And like I say, I'll probably end up putting an optic on this just to see. You know, I've got a couple that I know would be about, you know, right there as far as sticking out. And the way this padding is, I'm sure it'll feel just fine because it still won't touch the body. That's one thing I like about this style holster. You got enough padding to where it's going to keep that off of you. So this was very comfortable to carry. Everyday carry is just fine. I usually carry, you know, around the 3 or 330 position, and it's pretty easy to move this back and forth since it is a single clip, because when I get in the car, I tend to move this forward a little bit so it's not against my seats. I don't want to, you know, get the metal of the clip or something like that into the leather and, you know, potentially tear the seat up. And so I usually rotate the gun forward a little bit, which is easy to do with a single clip like that. So to me, it was very comfortable to carry. Not all that different than any other handgun in this same size category. And I felt good carrying it because it is a good shooting gun. And I think if you were considering this for a carry gun, it's actually a decent option. So if we're talking about the overall impressions of the Taurus G3C Toro, well, I can say this. When I shot the original G3C, I liked it. You know, it was a less expensive option because, you know, I tend to gravitate towards certain guns, not because I have a thing for spending all my money, just because all of us have certain guns that we like. You know, I like my HKs and my SIGs and my 1911s and various other guns, and I like my revolvers. And when I started getting to look at more and more of these Taurus offerings, I've been more and more impressed with how well they're made. And so I wouldn't hesitate at all to have this as a carry gun. If I had to, you know, reduce my collection, if someone said, well, look, you have to carry this gun for your carry gun and that's all you get, I wouldn't be that upset about it because it's proven itself to be a good gun. You know, it's got decent capacity. And for me, that's not even a breaking point because I carry a 5-shot revolver all the time. But you got 12+1. It's a compact package. It has a good trigger. Maintenance, you know, basic maintenance and cleaning is easy. And you have the optics option for it. So I think it's a good little handgun. And it's priced a lot lower than a lot of its competition. And of course, Taurus tends to be a little bit lower priced. And at one time, I would have been afraid of that because, you know, a lot of people, they automatically equate dollars spent with quality. But Taurus has done a lot of work, especially in the last several years, and I think they've come a long way toward bridging that gap while still being affordable. So if you were considering the Taurus G3C Toro for a carry gun, I can't give you a single reason why you shouldn't do it. And there you have it. Well, that's going to do it for today. As always, we appreciate you being with us. We'll be back very soon with another video for you. So until that time, everybody, please stay safe and have a great day. Thank you.